Hey YouTube, Kimberzelik here. Been doing some organizing in the shop and in the toolboxes. I'm going to do a little shop tour. So start this off with a little bit of my story again for those who haven't heard it. I'm the son of a tool maker. 5 brothers. My father had 5 brothers. They were all tool makers with the exception of one who was a draftsman. Celestial Tool, my uncle, were the first ones to make the pull tab beer cans, where you actually had the pull tab in your hand when you were done. And when I was a kid, we had 14-karat gold-plated pull tabs to play with, and pocket protectors, and all kinds of fun like that. My father had a granite surface plate in the garage. It was probably 10 inches thick and a good 3 foot by 4 foot. Had a Bridgeport at one time. Never saw him do anything with it. His brother, Joe, had several patents with Do-All that were bought by Do-All. He was part of the advent of CNC, I think. He had a shop no matter where he lived at. His most optimal property was a big home with a drive-in basement and ground level basement in the front of the house, actually. Several garage doors. All the way to a little Cape Cod where he took machines apart and ran them down 2x12s down the stairs on chain hoists. And I truly wish those guys were still alive to bring me along. If I have any regrets about this journey, it's that. Well, a little over a year ago, on my 61st birthday, my kids bought me a Harbor Freight mini lathe, and I haven't looked back. I wake up in the middle of the night and come out here and do something. People ask me, well, what do you make? I say, well, I really don't make anything. I just, I've made carriage locks and all kinds of modifications to the lathe. Plumb bobs, and turned brass, turned copper, made cubes. Working miniature lamp. And my first commission job was making these nuts, 256 7/8 nuts for clocks. So let's get on with the shop tour, toolbox tour. Okay, my shop is probably 12 foot by 12 foot. I have neon LED light bulbs. I'm wired for 220 here. And here is my welder and my heater, which is supplemented with the propane. My 7x10 Harbor Freight mini lathe, minus the compound. One of my projects, I built this riser block, a carriage lock. I have most of my lathe tools on the wall right here in front of the lathe. And these are just little metal boxes I can hang my tool holders on. I make extensive use of these magnet strips. Sears Craftsman 8-inch drill press. I have a couple of indicators. I have a Mitutoyo knockoff. Got some optivisors. And this is kind of my metrology table. In other words, I have a cast iron surface plate. I have a dual trans check, which does and doesn't work. I got a couple drill indexes. I got wire gauge, imperial. This is my one wooden toolbox inserts. I use 3 different inserts. There's my holders, some trepanning tools, thread tools, parting blades, center drills, my high-speed steel. And we have some brazed carbide. Honing stone. Nice round profile there. Nice 45-degree profile on that one. We've got compasses and dividers. Okay, this is my one day I will own a mill drawer. Some of this I picked up from my father. Most of this stuff, 99% of this stuff was gone before he moved to the nursing home. He has since passed. I have a friend that finds toolboxes for me. Sometimes he gives them to me, sometimes I pay for them. This is kind of stuff for my lathe. There's my compound. There's some arbors. There's my drill chuck, my 4-jaw. A kind of worthless contraption for milling on the mini lathe. here again is the drawer waiting for the day when I get a mill. All my end mills. Some kind of arbor, I'm not sure. I bet that goes to a surface grinder of some kind. Some boring bars for the lathe. This is all my carbide end mills. This is for nose hair. I'm missing the sleeve that goes around the outside, but you stick that up your nose and spin it, and it takes care of all those unwanted nose hairs. That drawer's got to weigh 300. Oh, it's heavy. Okay, and these here, the cord is still out on those. Those are imports. I have some American-made countersinks. I guess these are called step drills. These are all either diamond or carbide burrs. This is my my metric taps or dies. This is my imperial taps and a couple of dies. Nice big Weldon countersink. And there's his little brother. Some pulley taps. Long shank countersink. I'm going to kind of let this drawer speak for itself. There's a couple indicators here, an AMES, needs a lens, a crystal, and I got a Federal that needs a crystal. I think this one reads to a half a thou. This is 1/1000. Here's a Brown and Sharp 1-inch standard. There's protractor. I also have a Starrett set. Missing this one. I can't tell you the name of some of this stuff. Here's an item that was my father's. I got another one of these here somewhere. Here's my collection of parallels. been able to so far collect. One angle block. We got two Starrett adjustable parallels. Got some Prince Albert, some trademark. And this is my little machine shop. I guess it's a 6-inch caliber. Does the job. Okay, we're going up here to Kennedy. This is in the process of finding new tenants. I got some hardware in here, some cheap drills, some more metric hardware, my rules, my homemade screw gauge, I guess it would be. Recently acquired thread file, new old stock, never used. Jacob's chuck. Repair parts. And these are kind of like gauge blocks. They can ring together. There's only about 3 different sizes, but these two are run together. They're a very nice grind on them, and like I said, there's only like 3 or 4 different sizes there. Some transfer punches, a couple little hammers, Allen wrenches, protractor, some feeler gauges, some thread gauges, a drill gauge, countersink gauge, piece of rubber, a couple protractors, some tap wrenches. I think they're all Craftsman. No, this one is oh, I forget the name of the company. It's G&D. It has kind of a image of a mountain with G&D in it. Craftsman. General. Little tap wrench for round taps, couple levels. I think this is a Starrett. Well, I think I gave the Starrett away that size. And up here is my red metals. We got some copper sheets, 16 gauge, 22 gauge, 12 gauge. These are probably the most useful so far. Nice for making soft jaws for the lathe. And here's some compasses. We got a set of Michitoya micrometers. We got a central tool, a Brown and Sharp, got a Starrett number 2. Imagine this just depicts, it's 2-inch. Some probably import telescoping gauges, a broken set of hole gauges, small hole gauges. Just got this recently. This is a Starrett. This is an inside bore maybe, and that's a Starrett. Okay, we got ink pens and JB Weld and Loctite and markers. Now we're getting up to pointy things here. Here's my some of my center drills. Before, a year ago, I don't even think I knew what a reamer was, and I was worried about acquiring some, and I came across quite a few of them in the toolbox that was given to me. And here's some more reamers. I forget what these are called. I know you can indicate certain things with it. Some small jeweler's files. Tapered reamers. Some more of these files. These are all made in Sweden, Switzerland. And this is pointy things. Here's a I think everybody should have one of these in their toolbox. If they don't, they need to go to randyrichards.com and get ordering some tools. There's a Starrett spring-loaded punch. Okay, now up on top here, let's bring this box down. There's my gear ratchet, tap and ratchet set. Let me bring this box down here. Oh! Okay. Now this kind of stuff here I used to give away. You know, to people like A-Bomb and Steve Summers. And then I realized that, you know, I'm going to own a machine one day where I can utilize this stuff. And I know this isn't a ball peen hammer, but it's a beautiful hammer. Nice leather handle. Buck Brothers claw hammer. Anyway, back to this box. High security latch on here. And what we have here, you can probably already see. Rex alloy, 1-inch tool steel. I guess that's what you'd call it. There's some more brands. Momax, Morris, Haynes, Sturbright, I guess. raised carbide tools. This one's kind of a step tool. There's a parting blade, can of metal. Some more Momax, some more Morris. This is Morris 4204S. Some 3/16 and maybe 1/4 inch. And this one here, I'm not 100% sure. This is a cutting tool. It really doesn't feel like it. And now I have my Carbide Blanks. And these have a number on them. This is stuff, okay, here it is. It's 883. I'm not sure if that depicts what kind of carbide that is. But like I said, this is stuff that I would, send off to other YouTubers who, could definitely use it, but probably didn't need it. Some of those guys have so much tooling, it's kind of ridiculous. I do have plans for 1 or 2 of these larger pieces. There's one guy out there he's kind of on the top of the heap as far as YouTubers go. But he takes the time to watch my videos, comment on my videos, and that alone encourages me. Here's a couple Kennedy boxes. The one on the bottom needs some body work. It's really rough. This one here has some kind of cancer. The outside kind of looks like this. I stripped it, but the felts in this box, are like new. And they're all the same. And now I have my chips from the year 2000. It's about 23 pounds, I think. My Evaporust down there in the bottom. I got a Harbor Freight welder back there. My newest Toolbox acquisition. That's going to go to a friend. We got the Lathe dogs in the 10-inch 4-jaw from the Cascades of New York. They were completely coated in rust. A true testament to Evaporust. This table is an 8-foot banquet table. I got it up on risers of PVC pipes. The feet are stuck in. I have another Kennedy box here. This is an 820 or a 580. This is a 520. And that has drawers with pristine felt as well. Everything works very nicely. Drawer dividers. And there's the top of it. And this is just some of the things I did. I made this big rectangle on the lathe. I did this copper cube on the lathe. This was one of my first threading successes, where I actually made a nut and a bolt that go together. A large, rather strange bimetal plumb bob. And this is hours of work. There's copper 12L, brass 12L14. No. It's brass. Yeah, 12L14. Aluminum, brass, and then on the end here, copper. That's about 6 inches long. And I'm not sure how much of an inch. One inch, 250 thousandths. Copper turned on the mini lathe, which turned out to be quite a feat. I can't repeat that. That'll be something someday. There's a blade, or a replica slicer. And this is another easy to get item, but you gotta spend a little money. You might need a dovetail cutter or a set of dovetail cutters. You want to see Randy Richards in the shop for that. Got a little riser on here. I keep some distilled water out here. A couple buckets of print face, typeface for the printing industry. And we'll find a piece of glass and cover this, and I'll use this as a lapping surface. So I'm always, going to the thrift stores looking for Harbor Freight rock tumbler. I don't know if you can see the media in there or not. It almost looks like what I have to clean up after machining cast iron. But I've been running my nuts through there with these pins to keep things moving. And this is kind of a before and after. There they are, all rough edges, and there they all finished with smooth edges. Went to Dayton Tool Crib today. Got some aluminum cutting fluid. It's 4 ounces, $2.35. Some Rapid Tap. This is my everyday oil. That's what's going to be in my oil can. And that'll be for tapping and cutting steel. And this is what I'll be using the most of, is probably aluminum. back down here. I want to do some anodizing. And I got a vessel down there. It's a long rectangle. This bus bar sits across it. There's 2 lead weights on it that would be the negative terminal. And the parts will hang from this bus bar on aluminum rod. And I believe they will have the positive current. So I don't know a whole lot about that. That's a future project. Just need to get some of the chemicals and some time to learn anodizing. Well, that's about it. I forgot everything but my thermos. The box down here with locking pliers, fits all wrenches, wall warts, Torx head screwdrivers. We better go up here. Kind of safety stuff, I guess. I got latex gloves. I got a Tyvek suit. And, correspondence from other YouTubers. Their stickers. These are my cleaning supplies and my oil and my hardware. Let's pull one of these out here. This is got metric and inch. And here we got grub screws and threaded rod, square-headed screws, and more threaded rod. My collection of copper. This is all 12L14. 1.5 down to 1/8, I think. Copper hex. My 12L14 hex. 1.5 inch aluminum, which is pretty much my max diameter. Dumpster find. Here's some smaller brass rods, like 3 millimeter to looks like 10. Dumpster find, a couple pieces of aluminum. This is all just kind of found metal. Stuff I've found in chip bins behind Toolbox, behind tool shops. A couple shops I visit. In the dead of night, when I get off work at midnight, I'll drive by, and hopefully it's not your shop and I won't get shot. Shouldn't even show this drawer. This is like a catch-all. Got my manual for the 7x10 precision mini lathe. Got some Scotch-Brite today. White seems to be the finest. There's gray, and I think green falls between gray and maroon. And they had a black, I think, too. Well, you know what? I think that's about it. I love these magnetic bars for holding, well, here's a nice big piece of brass, big drift. This is my shop-made height gauge. It's got a relief on the bottom. I threaded on that brass ring on top and threaded it and Loctited it in the right position. I got my dedicated Allen wrench. Got my files. It was $1.09. Most of them were given away. Thread comb, or file comb. Here's my my more recent items. It's a tool post. Tool post drill. It's workable if you're careful. You know, I'm kind of like a parrot. I watch all these YouTubers create things, and I'm able to mimic some of them. So I change gears for the mini lathe. I need a 20-tooth gear, or 80-tooth. I need an 80-tooth. I keep a little Jack Daniels out here for medicinal purposes. Okay, I think we've covered everything. I got an electric heater up here. I've been keeping this place about 10 degrees Celsius. And it goes down to about 7 or 8, and the heater kicks back on. And I have this, which I keep forgetting to turn off. It's a propane tank out in the yard, feeds that, and it's very expensive. I use that to get the shop up to temp. The vacuum cleaner down there. Drill machines, cut-off tool. And a motor up in there somewhere. Some buffing. Okay, that's it. Yeah, I think that's about it. I do have some transfer punches. You know, I get an idea. Oh, and there's my little sander. The belt isn't working. I'm missing some components on the bottom to tension the belt. Didn't notice that when I bought it. But you know, I come up with an idea. I want to do something, and I always seem to have exactly what I need to get it done. And sometimes down to the nut or bolt. You look at one of my videos on my most recent milling attempt. And that was certainly the case with some of the fixturing I did here. So, like and subscribe, tell a buddy, bring a friend, and tell me what this is. I'm going to take it apart. I'm not going to put it back together, so get a good look at it. It's fun, as Blondie would say, Yahtzee. Okay. And I said I wouldn't put it back together, but I'm getting so good at putting it back together one-handed. I just want to show off a little bit. And I can't believe I failed to mention my Allen wrench. And there's somebody out there who needs this Allen wrench, because I saw him doing something to his machine, changing something out, and he needed a 1-inch Allen wrench. And if I see that video again, if I figure out who it is, this thing is going off in the mail to him or her. Did I mention I had an 8-inch Craftsman drill press? A little magnetic transfer V-block out here. For when that need arises. Well, and then I made a hand crank. And this is for hand powering, hand cranking. A 7x10 Harbor Freight mini lathe. I saw Adrian from Ade's Workshop do some threading with a hand crank. So I had this 1 kilo dumbbell weight, and I managed to get it on the lathe somehow and clean up the outside, glued a protractor to it. I made an expanding mandrel and ended up with something like that. Okay. There's some more magnetic strips. These are like the tools that used to be in my toolboxes before I started collecting machinist tools. And this is like machine pornography. That book, and then the McMaster car. And I learn a lot paging through those. Identify tools that I have, which came with toolboxes that I've acquired, and I learn what a lot of things are. I don't always know what they do, but I at least learn their name. Here's kind of a little Eagle manufacturer. It's a parts washer. Your solvent would be down in there, and you dunk it down in there, and bring it up and let it drip dry. Little miniature parts washer. And this is probably the greatest value at Harbor Freight. It is a 7-inch bench brush. And it costs like 99 cents. And it's supposed to be maple. Okay, I want to thank all you guys who follow me and leave comments, giving me advice and encouraging me. I'm looking for a mill and a larger lathe this year. And did I show you my Morris taper number 2? End mill. End mill holder. I made that on the Harbor Freight mini lathe. And that's steel, and I used oxbow bluing, Brownell's oxbow blue, and the first Morris taper 2 I made was an aluminum. It was a little short, so I needed a ejection pin on it, and that has a center drill. I'm going to make another one in steel with a spotting drill on it real soon. This has got to be over now. Like and subscribe, tell a buddy, bring a friend.